All right, what's up, everybody? Dave here, Stance Everything, back from Motorama, and thank you to everybody who came by and looked at the truck at Motorama. The show was absolutely fantastic, and it was really cool to be part of the Zaire booth at the show, and I'm hoping to be able to do that again in the future. In the last video, I said that I was going to try and get some video of my favorite vehicles and things like that at the show. I did get a little bit of video. I wasn't super thrilled on it. It was okay. But I did switch over to taking photos, which, as some of you know, is how I pay for a lot of this stuff, is through freelance contributions to other publications. Unfortunately, one of the publications that I work for, one of the major ones that I work for, ran out of budget for this fiscal year, which ends in March, which means a lot of that content might not see the light of day. So those photos that I concentrated on to not do video, I probably should have done some video. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with that video and some of that content. I might actually overlay some of it while I'm talking right now, just so you can see some of it. The rest of it will probably end up on my Facebook page and Instagram. So Stances Everything on Facebook and Stances Everything Com on Instagram is where you can find some of that content. When I was exporting some of that content off of my camera, I did find some videos that I shot last summer when I was getting this truck ready for the road. So I am going to be putting out over the next little bit some videos called the Lost Files. The Lost Files cut back to the past of those videos that never saw the light of the day, and then back to the current, where I finish up, because some of them didn't have outros and some of them didn't have intros. It was just sort of me thrashing to get the vehicle on the road last year. So let's get into the Lost Files, and then we'll just keep chugging away, and then hopefully once we catch up, we'll get to widening this other fender, because if you remember, I did widen one of them for Motorama, and then we'll just keep rolling along. So hope you like the Lost Files. All right, everyone, Dave here, Stances Everything, and this video is going to be a little bit choppy, and I apologize. I have been incredibly busy lately, so I'm going to try and get a bunch of stuff done to the truck that will help it move down the road this summer a lot better, but I don't know what order I'm going to do it in. I'm just going to come out into the garage and jam things out. Now, as you might have guessed from the last video where I talked about getting insurance and plated, my truck is finally plated, and I've actually driven it around a little bit. You guys have not seen it yet because I've been really busy, like I said, and I just hit some miles and sort of enjoyed it, but there are a bunch of bugs I got to work out and things to shake it down better. So we're going to tackle a couple of the annoyances right away in this video, and then we'll continue driving it through the summer and ideally get it to a point where it is dialed. So one of the first things I need to fix on the truck, and honestly it's pretty annoying and a pretty big drivability thing, is I have no mirrors on it. The only mirror I have is this one, and as you can see, it doesn't do a very good job of being a mirror. I thought about tacking it back here, but you know, sometimes you do need to move your mirrors, so I didn't really want to do that. And with this being so roasted, it doesn't really make sense. So I did buy a mirror to replace this, but I want to see if I can keep as much of this blue original as possible. So I'm actually going to try and drill this out and shove the other mirror through it. So let's go to the bench and see if that will work. All right, so this is pretty simple. We've got the original mirror here and the aftermarket mirror here. This aftermarket mirror is a wide angle one, so you can see me in there, and it will give me a lot more visibility than this mirror. But what I would like to do, that's just going to look too new on it. So I'm kind of wondering if I can open this up and then maybe try and pluck this mirror out and then sort of make a kind of mesh of the two. You might see a little bit of black around the edges, but I think I can make it work. Just hopefully this will kind of stay together enough to do that. So let's put the camera somewhere and I'll take this apart and see sort of where we end up.
Alright, it's a good thing I'm not superstitious because I definitely broke this mirror getting it out, but now I have this kind of shell that I'm hoping, with a little bit of finessing, I can get to go on top of this. It would be a real bonus if these screws line up, because then I can just sink these screws in. I'll actually keep it all mounted. So let's just see if that works. Alright, it looks like we're pretty close. Obviously, I will have to remove those screws on the inside, and I am going to get this off. I'm going to go through here and just make sure that this is as wide as possible. You can see I've got a little bit more lip in here, but I think once I have this lip sorted out and these screws out, and then I screw it through there, we should have a reasonably patina looking mirror from at least the front side of the truck, which I'll be pretty happy with. So let me just grind this out, and then we'll hopefully screw this all together and be all right.
Here, the mirror is on the truck now. It didn't turn out quite as nice as I wanted from an aesthetic perspective. I do have some finesse to do in a little bit, but I'm taking this truck to a barbecue today, so I'm going to roll with it right now because I'm out of time. So here's how it looks. Obviously, I knew that you were going to be able to see that rotted through. That was already rotted through. That's not the part that I'm actually upset about. It's just around here. It didn't kind of fit over quite as nicely and evenly as I'd hoped. So what I'm going to do at a later date is sort of trim this, and with the body hammer just kind of get this nice and looking a little bit better, a little bit more consistent. Obviously this is a new mirror, there's no disguising that, or no totally disguising that, but I want it to look a little bit better. But if you step back from here, that looks way better than a brand new black mirror sitting on the truck. Matches the patina. You can tell that at least I made the effort to keep this original piece. Let me show you what it looks like from the inside. Inside of the truck, way better than it was before. I'm going to feel a lot safer driving like this. So we're going to roll out today, and then tomorrow we're going to get back with a couple more things I got to do. All right, we're back with project number 2 of this video, which is going to be putting in the correct fuel sender for my fuel tank, or more accurately, my Classic Instruments gauges. Look in my fuel tank cell right now. You can see that I do have quite a bit of fuel in there, probably about a quarter tank. However, if we go to my truck and see the fuel gauge, it shows inaccurate. It shows that I have a full tank. So if we get in the truck and key it on, you can see that it is showing a full tank of fuel, which I have nowhere near a full tank of fuel. So we got to fix that. So to fix that issue, we're going to install this universal fuel sender from Bosch. It has the correct 24 to 33 ohm resistance that I need for my Classic Instruments gauges. I consulted the manual just to verify that. So we are going to pop out the old one, put the new one, put them side by side so that I can get them to the right length, because the length is important here and this is adjustable, and put it back in, and hopefully we have the right fuel gauge. Okay, I gotta admit, this sender is way smaller than I expected it to be. I thought it'd be a lot longer, but I guess really why do they need to be that long? And what's going to be important for me to emulate is the angle of the float here, because that's going to control the sweep, which is going to control my fuel level reading. So let me get this one out of the package, and then we'll take a look at sort of what we've got going on and how to make everything match up.
Okay, so truth be told, I didn't read these instructions much at all. Obviously, I cut everything before I even read anything, but this is adjustable. If I do need to lengthen this, I've got actually a ton over here that I can kind of loop back in there and figure it out if I really messed up, but I don't think that I did. These look reasonably the same, and really I need full tank, half tank, and quarter tank. And then everything else in between can be about right, because when I hit quarter tank, I know I'm going to get some fuel anyway. So let's put this back in the truck, and then fingers crossed everything works out.
All right, so we are back. This is Current Time Dave, and I'm going to show you the fuel sender working in the truck. We'll hop in the truck first, and we'll get a reading on what it's saying right now. All right, we're in the truck right now, and it's reading empty. I'm going to key it on, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so you can see that the sender did move it up to about a quarter tank. We'll go look in the tank and see what's up there. Since we're at the truck anyway, I might as well just go over the mirror one last time. So I put a bunch of miles on this mirror. It did end up actually splitting a little bit at the bottom, but it's a-okay. Now, a few months on, I'm not really too stressed about how this looks. I did finesse it a little bit so that it looks reasonable, honestly. The performance improvements is really what I'm after here, and that was perfect. Here, it looks the part. It's exactly what I wanted. I just didn't want something looking too new with the rest of the truck. Obviously, I spent a lot of time making sure that only certain things look very new and other things look very patina. And I want to keep that moving forward with this mirror, and I think that did the perfect job. All right, we're back at the tank now. Looking in there, you can see there's fuel in there. Can't really see how much, so I'm gonna do a very scientific method of this stick here. Put it in. That mark there does show about a quarter tank, which is perfect. It means the sender is working. Ironically, I am actually going to be pulling the fuel pump out of this and this fuel cell out and replacing it with the exact same fuel cell, powder coated black. This cell here I painted with etching primer and Tremclad, and unfortunately, as you can see around here, I did have to take this sender out a few times to adjust the float slightly to get a little bit more accuracy. You can see that the fuel, when it goes on it, it kind of stains it. You can see over here as well. It just doesn't look dialed the way that I want this back half to look. So I'm going to go with that one, which is the same cell, powder coated, and we'll get into it in a future video of me swapping this out. I do need to drive the truck a little bit more to get that fuel out of there so that I can lift this cell out. So in a future video at some point, we'll cover all of this, but this is working, and we will just pop it into that cell and keep her moving once we're ready to go. All right, so that brings us pretty much to the end of the Lost Files video number 1. Hopefully you've also all noticed that I have way better lighting in the shop now. I spent some time over the winter upgrading the lighting just to make things a little bit better. I also have to fix my camera lens. I do have the parts for that now, so hopefully there's a little bit less of the bright spots that you see in the video. And then I might even get a mic just to keep rolling a little bit better, because I know the audio can be a bit spotty at times. So I'm going to do my best to keep it rolling. I don't know how often I'm going to be updating. Weekly is probably a little bit lofty, but twice a month is maybe what I'll shoot for. Or maybe it'll be weekly for a little bit and I'll take a month off. Who knows? But I'm going to keep trying to contribute as best I can with the time that I have available. I have another list up here of things to do. as you can see, there's pretty much nothing checked off, but there will be some things checked off really, really soon. Some of them are going to be easier than others, but we'll keep cranking through that, and hopefully everyone's on board to watch me get through those things. Once again, thank you to everybody who has followed the project so far, who came out to Motorama, gave me some support, who follows me on my social medias, and who follows me here on YouTube. It's been a long time, but we'll do our best to get back at it. If you do like this content, definitely give it a like, a subscribe, throw a comment down in the bottom. Just let me know how I'm doing. I really do want to try and at least ramp this up a little bit more, especially if I'm not going to be doing photography as much. I might as well let the creative outlet go through this. And I do want to upgrade some of my equipment. Obviously, that's a little bit easier to do if I can see that there's some growth and some community behind this. It's going to motivate me a little bit more, especially when it gets busier in the summer and time gets a little bit harder. But thankfully in the summer, it's actually easier to come out here and work in the garage. So that's kind of better. Anyway, hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you're looking forward to some more of the Lost Files videos to come. It's going to take me a little bit to kind of chop them back to life. And we will see you in the next video. Thanks again.